Nerd is the new sexy.
Hello everyone, I'm Wildfire1. You are listening and watching Nerds New Sexy Podcast. This is episode 94, and with me today is a very special guest, a good friend of mine. I've worked with him, just like I did Grizzly McBee. Go ahead and announce yourself.
Hey, howdy everyone. I'm Sam36. Played with Wildfire and Grizz for a while now, and then long before that, we actually all worked together.
If you guys watch some of my personal streams, you'll see this guy playing with me at yesterday?
Yeah.
On Far Cry 5. This guy's gotten really into Far Cry 5. It's a fun game. It really is a fun game.
I'm most easily identified as the foul-mouthed redneck with a glorious mullet.
With the flowing mullet that flows to music.
Yeah. It flows to Freebird.
It flows gloriously to Freebird. But go ahead and give us a little nerd cred. Let us know like what started you out on games and like what games you like and what type of nerdy things you enjoy.
Going all the way back to as a kid, duck hunt days, and actually at elementary school, I wrote a how-to paper as a walkthrough guide for GoldenEye.
Ooh.
Didn't even have to use the golden gun. From there, actually, one of my first jobs was working for Software Etc. That dates me a little bit for those that know about Software Etc.'s existence before, GameStop dominated the entire world. I mean, granted, GameStop owned them at the time, but, we still had a cool sign. It's actually True and I worked together over there, game-wise, from RPGs to shooters, and everything in between.
You've even been known to play World of Warcraft.
I drank the Kool-Aid for a while. Had a hell of a time, but I don't think I could ever go back to MMOs. EverQuest back in the day was another one. That was my first MMO. So just kind of a little bit of this, that, and the other, and then it seems that every so often life will get in the way, so I'll sell off all my games and my gaming consoles, because I don't ever play them, they just collect dust. And then the next generation comes along, and I go, well, fuck it, I gotta buy it.
So there's not going to be a real topic this time around. It's just going to be nerd chat with me and Sam36. I had to think about that. It's been so long.
Yeah.
With me and Sam36. So we're basically just going to bullshit about what we love and what we like to do. So what games are you playing these days, Sam36?
A lot of Far Cry 5. It's like the perfect balance for me. I've got plenty of missions to go and do, but then just an open world environment and things that blow up.
You look like you fit right in to Far Cry 5.
Yeah, that's normally I'd even have this a little bit longer, but that whole professional.
Well, you and Grizz has that big beard now too. He's living up to his name.
No, that's it. It's harsh winter months. We got to stay warm. But,
harsh winter months in California summer. Fuck you for that.
But I also wrapped up Battlefield 1 not that long ago.
How'd you like that, by the way, Battlefield? Because that's one of the Battlefield games I didn't buy.
You know what? I really enjoyed it. The thing I enjoyed was how the campaign was broken out.
That's what I hear.
I mean, you're in different locations, but you're also playing as different characters. It's not like you're the same person in this game. So there's a different connection to the characters. From the Harlem Hellfighter to the Aussie guy, to the probably actually my favorite character. I can't remember his name, but the guy is basically a shyster and steals an aircraft from a British guy. And then lies and says he's the British guy.
How do you explain stealing an aircraft? How do you explain a stolen aircraft to the military, right? Like, it was there a second ago.
He did some really heroic things, and so they kind of gave him a bit of a pass. But he was essentially like the Han Solo of World War One.
Okay, that's
does terrible things, but means well when he does it.
Okay. So other than games, you obviously like nerdy movies. We've had discussions on like zombie apocalypse stuff. We've had discussions on like online, on all sorts of things. Now that I think about it, I said you like you said you drank the Kool-Aid as far as World of Warcraft. You already know what I think about that. I used to give him shit about playing World of Warcraft. So
you know, I don't regret it. It was a good game, ton of fun. I actually built some friendships through that game and whatnot. And it's one of those, I guess, kind of community games, if you will, where there's such a huge fan base that it brings people together.
We had a podcast on MMORPGs too, and that's pretty much what we came to. Is that is those games do bring people together, and a community is kind of nice. Single player is great, but when you're playing with a friend, even if it's like last night with me and you on Far Cry 5, if you're playing with a friend, it just kind of makes it more fun. There's more interaction.
It's not as much fun blasting Freebird when I'm flying in the helicopter by myself.
No, especially when I'm looking at your mullet flapping in the wind. It's, What sucks is we had to do it twice last night because the first time we didn't have, someone didn't have his party settings in the right. And to his defense, he doesn't play the PlayStation that much. He's kind of a family guy, so it's understandable. So we had to walk him through it, and we did it again, and it was glorious. It was miraculous.
Actually, because you're old as fuck, you're not remembering this. We realized later on that none of it was heard because of those settings that you had to walk me through. And then also, fuck you for talking shit.
You know what? I'm old. I can't remember anything I just said.
But,
who are you again? I'm sorry. You got a very forgettable face.
What do we have? We took out 4, and what was the playlist for the 4? We had
Danger Zone.
Yeah, Highway to the Danger Zone, Ride of the Valkyries, and Rocky Mountain
High and Friends in Low Places.
Yeah, Rocky Mountain High. That one was hilarious because it was the highest.
We were the highest mountain to go take care of something, and he's Rocky Mountain High. We're playing that, and we're just like, I don't know if you noticed. I don't know if you noticed this, but we were so on sync that we started singing in the same places. Like,
oh yeah,
I was like, I started laughing on off camera about that because I was like, he's singing with me at the same time. We're like in sync on this shit.
If I'm being truthful, after I beat the game, I want to reload it, do enough just to get that helicopter, and then fly around and wipe out every outpost in one shot, and just have a basically an outpost clearing
montage.
Playlist.
Yes.
Yeah.
We could do that. He hasn't beaten the game yet, but that's okay. We're working on that.
Yeah. Put in some more work today, and then I got distracted.
It's okay. Life happens. As we say.
Well, no, it's like I got distracted because in that game I have high explosives and it's a target-rich environment. So I don't always make it to the mission.
So on this game on Far Cry 5, you did introduce me to something that I didn't know we could do. And you know what if you think about it, you know what I'm talking about. It's the blowtorch, the repair torch. So
setting
yeah,
forest.
Go ahead. I'm setting you up for this. So go ahead and tell that story.
So in Far Cry 5, there's a repair torch, which it has a multitude of uses that I guess the game is designed for. The game kind of pushes you towards using it for these. But the fact that it works for some alternative uses makes me think that the folks that made this game are just as sick and twisted as I am. So you can use this torch to repair your vehicle. You can use it to sabotage an enemy vehicle. You can use it to open locked safes. And you can also use it to set enemies on fire. Wild animals that will then run through the forest, causing a massive wildfire.
How many bears? How many bears?
There was like 3 bears and a moose, but who's counting?
3 bears and a moose.
Or you can just set the forest fire yourself using this, but you catch fire with that, so you can't do too many. Otherwise, it doesn't work out well for you.
But it is a very interesting sacrifice. even if you catch fire a little bit, it's still fun to run in one sideways line, just catching shit on fire. I think we had how many little fires going?
I think at one point there was probably like 10 separate fires that then became one large fire, and we were kind of stuck in the middle of it.
Yeah.
I don't really know how I discovered that. I was just kind of tooling around one day, and Far Cry is one of those games where it offers a lot of what if questions.
Yeah.
Like, what if this blowtorch is fire? What if I hold this fire to set? And then when the enemy started screaming, that's when I realized there's some applications beyond repairing vehicles and opening safes.
Well, I mean, at one point I think we were even attacking the good guys. I attacked the good guys. They attacked both of us. And
you attacked the good guys. I just watched, and then once they attacked me, at that point I felt that I had to
self-defense.
Yeah, I can.
See,
I have street cred to protect. I can't just let people just be popping rounds off at me.
That's true, But then again, I'm gonna defend myself once again by saying, in Far Cry 5, there are no good guys. Even we're not good guys.
Yeah, that's true. I've killed a lot of people.
We're just the guys at the right place at the right time with mullets.
Yeah, killed the Mullet Militia.
Mullet Militia.
Yeah, I've killed a lot of people in that game, and in some probably less than humane ways.
What did we do? We killed 2 NPCs, and then picked up we killed one of them. I killed one of them, and this wasn't an NPC. This was a bad guy, and I picked him up and I said, I'm gonna keep this as a keepsake. And I'm walking around. I said, and I'm waiting for you to look at me. And your character's like, where the fuck are you? And you look down at me, and I just hear you busting up like, this is mine now.
Just traipsing along the dirt road with your bad guy, and then you had the 2 women that you viciously murdered, and then disposed of their bodies in the bliss
field. Yes.
Field, and then set it on fire.
You were gonna catch it on fire. I just helped you.
Steve, that's the thing though. I was unsuccessful in you're on the hook for murder, arson, all those things. I'm just like,
you're an accessory.
Arson.
You're an accessory. There's no denying that. You're a fucking accessory.
Officer,
you were there.
Officer, look. Obviously, all the things that we've done for this Noble Valley, and we're just suffering from some traumatic disorders.
Officer, we both have mullets. I'm obviously crazy. I'm a lunatic. Put me in an asylum. He's the normal one. Go for that guy.
Which is scary.
Yeah, he's the one that has to think twice about killing people, but he did it anyway. He deserves to be in normal butt raping prison.
It's all right. Those freaking guys up in the north of the valley hollowed us out like canoes with the amount of times that they kidnapped us.
Tell the viewers about that. Because as we know, the game stops you at certain points. If you haven't played the game, it stops you and makes you go through these cutscenes and these little parts where you've got to do it. Well, there's one where I guess you just get stuck in this area where you got to do the same thing over and over again. Without giving spoilers out, but go ahead and tell them about what we think happened.
So it feels really rapey. Just all of a sudden, the lights go out, and then you're coming to, often in a cage with other people that look as though they have been beaten and
brutalized.
Terrible things happen. And it's got this real rape vibe to it that, you're getting hollowed out like a canoe by these backwoods cultists. And
yeehaw!
We played long enough last night that we went through like 3 of these cutscenes. And by that point, you're just shitting a pancake. Let's be honest. There's,
it's just falling out.
Yeah.
It's just there's no effort. Just
Yeah,
it's bad.
We definitely After escaping for the third time, we stopped by the local store for some Depends.
Depends, or maybe a tampon to shove up there. Gotta cork it somehow.
Let's be honest. We were there for a while. We're gonna need something bigger than tampon.
You know, and then there's one point where you escape, and then it just. And I've played through it and beat it maybe twice. I played through it once by myself. And then Grizzly McBee got it, and then I helped him beat it, and I'm really excited to see how this guy responds to the ending. But it's fun watching him respond to some of these cutscenes, and him and I we've always kind of went above and beyond when it comes to comments on shit. Like the first time we played, and it was a cutscene where we're in a boat, we're basically tripping, on this bliss drug, and the characters are in a boat with another guy, and we're just commenting away, and the comments are like, oh yeah, we're going on a romantic ride, and there's like animals around and shit.
We're gonna get a handy on the boat ride from the U.S. Marshal.
Well, you seen how he was looking at us.
Yeah, I mean,
there was hearts in his eyes.
I think what it was is that he knew what was going to happen up in the north end of the valley, and he thought that it already happened, and then he was thinking that, he was thinking we were good to go.
I think he was just getting he was preparing our buttholes.
Yeah, he was grooming us. I don't know how I feel about that.
I don't know how I feel about. At least he went romantic about it, because they just drugged us, put us out, and then did what they did.
I felt very wooed by the U.S. Marshal. Like he really set the scene. I mean, there was butterflies, there was all these animals.
Like a Bambi movie.
Romantic, gentle boat ride.
He's covered in butterflies at one point,
Yeah, those other motherfuckers just drug you and throw you in a cage when they're done with you.
They get right to the point, and then and tell you long ass stories that you don't care about.
Oh my God!
Once I had a daughter, and my daughter was a baby, and she was a baby once, and then I fucking killed her.
And it's one of those that, like, I don't know, because they do a great job of telling the story.
No, it really is. And you even said
it's an amazing story. But what pisses me off is that you're in the middle of doing all kinds of shit, and then it cuts in. I'm like, no, I was just busy fucking shit up with an attack helicopter. Like, I don't want to sit and go through your, little horrible, sad dialogue.
I was in a chopper enjoying myself. How the fuck did you get to me?
Exactly.
It breaks from I guess the realism in the game, and I think that's that game's biggest problem. And also you're having fun. You're doing your own thing. You're killing things, and you're also sometimes just liberating settlements and stuff. And all of a sudden, bling! You got to go into this fucking storyline.
Yeah. And that's the thing too, is that the game is designed to trick you. Like, I think I told you about the one time where thought I was liberating a captive citizen, and then right as I went up to liberate him, it changed to one of the bosses, and I had to go through a cutscene.
Yeah, that shows you. That's literally supposed to be how the bliss affects you, and again, the bliss is the drug in the game.
Yeah, so like that one, I was kind of like, oh, okay, makes a little bit of sense, but I was kind of pissed because I was like, I was going to blow up a statue. Right? I was running up a mountain to go blow some stuff up, and then I got to deal with that.
That statue. Tell us a story about that too when you get a chance, because that statue is fun. That's probably one of the funnest parts of the game.
I'll finish this point, and then I'll make my way back to that. So that was like today. I was playing, and again, like, I enjoy this game because it is the open world environment that I can just
fuck shit up.
Yeah,
fuck shit up all day long.
Well, the thing is now is that I'm like a couple 100 points away from filling up the progress bar of all the things that you're supposed to accomplish before basically you challenge the final boss. Well, I know that as soon as I fill that thing up, that it's going to cut over to that boss. So now it's really kind of inhibiting the gameplay for me. And so that's probably the one complaint that I have about this game. But so anyway, I guess to kind of fill folks in. So Far Cry 5 is based on a cult that took over a valley in Montana.
Yeah.
Initially, they started very peacefully, and then not so peacefully to now we're just doing some really fucked up things to the local populace.
Shit hit the fan.
Yeah, in a big way. And so the leader of this cult, he erected a giant, like, what would you say, like a 8-10 story statue, something along those lines.
Yeah, I would say maybe an 8 to 10 story. It's huge. It's almost like that big thing in Tibet, I guess. That's pretty much the only thing I can think of that would resemble it.
Yeah, and just massive statue of him with the book pointing out. Well, anyway, one of the missions is you have to destroy it. Now, I am a big fan of shock and awe.
This is why we play so well together, because we just go what I like to say, full retard, right in there. We go right. We don't joke around. We go right in there and kill as many fucking people as we can. Go on.
That's it. You know, like there are those that, like, I did horrible at the Metal Gear Solid games back in the day because, like, you had to sneak. I don't have patience for that. Give me a high explosive and a large caliber weapon, and let me do my thing. And so I just I was tooling around in my little helicopter, and I was like, oh, this should be pretty easy to take this out. And so I unloaded on this statue with a barrage of missiles, and then proceeded to reload for a measly $1,000 my rockets to then basically pummel the cultists, quote unquote, protecting this statue into complete and utter annihilation, and sent them off to whatever afterlife they believe in. But they went there in pieces.
Not peacefully.
Yeah, no,
in pieces.
No, they did not. They went screaming into the night,
flying here and there.
Yeah, but at this point, I hadn't figured out how to set people on fire yet with the repair torch, so it was at least a quick ending for them.
For some of them, maybe. Some of them might have just gotten a concussion and just like, know.
Yeah, that one was. It's been a lot of fun checking my way through that, especially. It's kind of interesting too, the different controls on and handling on the vehicles.
Mm-hmm.
Like we're in that little, I don't know.
I called it a Prius. It wasn't a Prius, but yeah.
Yeah. Like that little hatchback thing where we ended up going under the semi. And so
this is what gets me. You decided to drive right into a semi with it, like.
Well, yeah. I needed him to stop.
And it
worked. I was wearing my seatbelt. You were wearing your seatbelt.
It worked.
Fine.
It worked.
Yeah.
I was expecting no, neither one of us died. We survived. In fact, we did exactly what we wanted to do. But I was expecting an '80s style Schwarzenegger one-liner from you after that.
I was so surprised it worked. I didn't know what to say.
I'm thinking, are we driving right at that thing? And then I seen, I'm like, did we just go under that thing?
It took a minute, and while I was trying to figure out like how exactly it worked that we had just gone under this semi and flipped it, we were then broadsided by another semi traveling at a high rate of speed.
We spun.
Which then, that created a whole host of other issues, and also a little bit of motion sickness.
In first person, that was probably the closest I've ever come to seeing like something like that in real life.
Oh yeah, well, how about when we had to run down the bison? There was.
Oh my God! With the frame rate on this game. Okay, maybe another complaint. The frame rate on this game dropped so hard. I think we both got headaches.
Oh, see, that was the thing. That was the first time I'd experienced that frame rate drop. But I don't know how I didn't get motion sickness. How I didn't get just.
I was getting there, and I don't get motion sickness.
Yeah. So. One of the missions we were working on last night, I guess, to kind of fill everyone in, is that so this valley is populated by, to put it politely, rednecks. There are some people there who it feels like their family tree resembles a telephone pole, but I don't judge. To each their own. And so he requested roadkill. And some of that roadkill we had to run down was bison, which is a very large animal. Don't move too fast, but you got to hit them a shit ton of fucking times with a normal sized pickup truck. And then because the game was having issues, they weren't spawning in the, like, I guess, amount that we would have expected and whatnot. So Wyld and I are both in trucks doing figure eights through this designated search area, if you will. That's like bumpy as all hell. It's marshland. We're whipping our trucks around and whatnot. And then the frame rate drops.
Big
at least,
time.
Like, so at least when the frame rate's up, like, you know, it's just like when you're driving a car. Like, okay, I know I'm gonna go left. I know I'm gonna go right. So then I'm not experiencing, you know, too many issues. But then when I've already gone left and have to wait to go left, then it started really fucking me up. And then we found a great strategy that basically was hitting a bison in between our vehicles.
So yeah, we chased this bison to hell and back, and he's hit it maybe 12 times already. This thing's like, fuck you, I'm getting back up. So I pinned my car behind it, like between two tree, and he's just like and finally the fucker dies. So we're like, okay, well that worked. We tried to do it, and then this guy is like the bane of all trucks, because every like 5 minutes after getting a truck, he's like, I just drowned this one. It's in the water now. I need another truck.
Shit got wild, man. I make no apologies. And then we had the one that took off through the woods, and I somehow managed to just thread the needle through these fucking woods, and he stops. I catch him broadside, and I didn't kind of realize why he stopped initially. It was because he was at the edge of a river, and I had this truck redlined in my pursuit of this fucking bison. And so when if the frame rate was gonna lag out, it did it at the absolute perfect time. So I drill this bison broadside. It flips up, and I swear to God, it looked at me like, why are you doing this to me?
And thank God it slowed down so you could see its face, right?
Like I could see the sorrow in its eyes that I have just. I have not only run this thing down to hell and back, but now I have just smacked the shit out of it, broadside, running my truck as fast as I can, and it just I've never seen a more disappointed video game animal than I did there. So then it was, once I hit him, I was like, all right, yeah, he's down. And then the truck caught some air, so I was like, okay, where am I going to land? And then I was in the water.
Yeah. Well,
so
my view was this. You hit me, ramped off me a little bit, and I guess some other shit. And I see the bison flipping through the air. And that must be where, like, at one point it just turned to you and winked, like, I'm sad. And then, and then I see you going over, and the bison's flipping over the truck that you're driving while you're both in midair, and you go in the water, and the bison goes, psh, and I'm like, did it fall in the water? And we found it in the water. But go on. Continue.
It was just the saddest thing I'd ever seen was that bison's face. And so really this game kind of makes you feel like a garbage human being sometimes with the things that you're required to do.
Didn't we even talked about the psychotraumatic stuff in the game, like if we were like seriously playing, and I mean if the storyline, if we were seriously playing and getting into the storyline, like the first time I did that, it's kind of fucked up. Like there's a lot of fucked up shit going on.
That's like, I've kind of like almost had to distance myself from it, because I'm just like, I mean, if this were, well, and because the thing is it kind of like freaks me out a little bit, because there's a documentary on Netflix that I highly recommend, and it's called Wild Wild Country. And it was about the time that a cult took over a town in Oregon in the 80s. Now,
you know what? You're the second person I heard that from. You told me one time, and another friend of mine told me at work.
Yeah. And it's one of those where, you know, they did some really horrible things. I don't want to give a spoiler for it, because some of it I'm just like, Wait, what? They did what?
They got a lot of money and stuff happened and.
Yeah, and also very similar to. I legitimately think that this game probably kind of took some ideas from what actually happened with that cult. Can't remember their name off the top of my head at the moment. But so then it kind of almost freaks you out when you go, well, this kind of already happened, not to the whole scale that this game takes place, but I mean, how difficult really is to make that.
How much more?
Gap, you know?
How much more could someone push it to make it to where this game's storyline is a reality?
Exactly.
You know, and so that's what's creepy.
Yeah. So then it kind of like freaked me out a little bit, and I was like, okay, no, just a game. These are just pixels now.
I'm just turning it off.
No more emotional investment in this. Flicking the switch. Whoever dies. I'm not going to be sad like when Soap McTavish died. Still hurts.
Soap. R.I.P.
Still hurts.
I still tip a 40 to his memory. But Soap we got really invested in through several games.
Yeah, but I mean it's it's one of those that still it's you build that relationship with your character, the characters you're playing with, and so it's really kind of interesting, really the effect that a video game can have on you, even when you're. I mean, I guess it's not so bad when your character respawns. I mean, like I've been known to carelessly jump off of large mountains thinking I can parachute in time.
Me too, following you, thinking if he can do it, I can do it. I did it one time, and then the second time it didn't work out so well. So.
Yeah, I think I've got a little more practice on that than you. But it's I know my character's gonna come back. But like when you play those games where your character's done or out for a period of time, you kind of have a lot more emotional investment in them, and just I don't know. I always feel like a terrible. Like I feel like I let them down. Like I wasn't good enough to keep you alive. I'm so sorry.
You'll be back, but we gotta wait now. That sucks. Yeah, one of the good things of this game is the outpost that you have to liberate, and that's always been good with all the Far Cry games. That's very fun. They changed it around a little bit. This one compared to the other ones, the hunting is a little different. The fishing's fun. We didn't get to do that yet, but we will.
Yeah, I've done a little bit. I'm not going to toot my own horn, but toot. I'm pretty damn good at fishing on that game.
Yeah, it gets good, and it gets even better once you start catching those special fish. And
yeah, I've got it pretty well mapped out. I've got my rhythms down and whatnot, but yeah, it's definitely a lot easier to fish after you've completely liberated an area, because I've had to whoop some ass with a fishing pole.
Yeah,
and it's
too bad you can't hit someone with a fishing pole. You can hit and kill people with just about everything else, even throw rocks at each other, but you can't just hit them with a fishing pole.
Yeah, the game. It's really, they kind of went all out on combat dynamics and the different things that you can do and whatnot.
They have a shovel launcher.
It's one of those that I love the comedic relief that a shovel launcher does, but at the same time I'm like, get the fuck out of here.
I was playing with True,
come on,
and he's the one that taught me how to throw shovels. I didn't know you could throw a shovel like a fucking spear. Well, we're up against a bear, and when it jumps on him, I'm throwing shovels at it, and there's like 3 shovels coming right out of it. No, I take it back. He threw a shovel at it at one point, and there's a shovel just wobbling out its ass. I got it on video. I think it's on one of my videos. It's funny as shit, but it's just so damn funny that we were actually testing how far you can throw the shovel. It goes pretty far.
Huh.
So.
I love some of the hilarious glitches in the game. Like my favorite is to try and load people in the back of a pickup truck. I can't tell you why. I think it's funny to take somebody out and then put their body in the back of your truck. That sounds so much more serial killer-esque and sociopath-esque than I intended.
It sounded better in your head, right? Like,
yeah.
I love putting people in the back of the truck in the game when they're dead.
I love putting dead bodies in the back of a truck and driving around.
It's fucking normal. Thank God we're talking about a video game, guys. If you just tuned in, we're talking about a video game.
Video games, I promise.
Don't talk about... Don't call SWAT
Don't look at
on
the back
us.
of the truck.
Don't call SWAT on us.
So anyway, True and I were playing, and it was when I think it was the first night I got the game. And so that's when I had learned that I could pick up bodies. So I chuck a body in the back of a truck, and the legs didn't quite make it. So it's like half of him is like hanging out the back of the truck. And every time I would hit a bump, the legs would like bang against the truck. And I don't know why.
That's hilarious.
But we laughed so much driving around, just thump, thump, thump every time I hit a bump.
Why didn't you do that when we were playing last night? That'd have been hilarious to watch.
Yeah. You know what I was trying to do? I was trying to put bodies in the semi that you blew up.
Oops.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Actually, I didn't. To make it better, I didn't blow it up. The plane that I blew up landed into it.
I got one with the grenade launcher today.
Did you?
It was coming in for a strafing run, and I just drilled it.
And that's actually kind of hilarious because we were looking through. I was looking through all the new weapons on there, and I told him, I go, "There's a grenade launcher here. You know that, right?" He's like, "What?" He says, "You know what I'm getting next."
It was game on after that.
After that, he's like, "Where's it at?" And I told him where's it at, and he's like, "Yeah, I got this now." And from then on out, he played with a grenade launcher a little bit, and a few NPCs died. A few, like a lot, and maybe some fish.
Shit happens.
People get in the way sometimes. When they do, they have to go.
All's fair in love and war. All right?
Grenade launchers. But if you had to rate this game, since it seems we're talking an awful lot about it, and it's a good game, so it's worth it. If you
I guess our podcast that didn't have a topic to begin with is
kind
now
of fell into a topic. Yeah. On other podcasts I've rated it, so I want to know what you think. Like a 1 to 10 rating, what would you give it? And what would take it down a few notches?
It's an 8 right now. It would probably go down a few notches if the story wasn't so good, and if they tried to tighten up the size. I mean, the sheer scale of the map. That's what really kind of does it for me. It truly feels like an open world, and I mean, I spent 3 hours this morning. I don't even know what I did.
Exploring.
I wandered around, started maybe a couple of forest fires, and blew up a plane with a grenade launcher. But it's not important.
It is to you.
I was solidly entertained for 3 hours, accomplished practically nothing for the game, and had a blast doing it.
And that's a good game.
Yeah. And some of the things I think that could really kind of take it up is those cutscenes and not being triggered by reaching a certain point. Because, I mean, the thing is, too, is like, I understand that they want you to go and get after, the story mission when you hit your different points in the progression. Then take away all the other missions. Don't make me go to it. Take away all my other missions and leave my world open. So that way, if I still want to go hunt bear or do whatever it is I want to do, then I can. Because there's no pause, there's no save at, in the middle of some of these missions. So, I mean, if you're trying to get somewhere or you're just hopping on for a few minutes and then all of a sudden you're in a major storyline mission,
you're stuck with this,
Yeah. Kind of takes it a little away from it. And then fixing that freaking frame rate, that was horrible.
That was probably the worst. That was the low point of last night.
Yeah.
And we were doing it right when we needed the frame rate the most. I'm telling you, I got a headache at that moment, and I don't get motion sickness, and I did. I was like, whoa, I wasn't feeling nauseous, but I was feeling like vertigo, I guess would be the right word for it.
It was just kind of one of those, especially whipping the truck in all different directions and I kind of had to take like a minute after that and just go, whew, All right, let's not throw up. It's just a game.
So 8 out of 10.
8 out of 10.
So far.
Yeah.
We'll see how you feel when you beat it. Yeah. We'll see how you feel until you beat it.
I have a feeling that it'll still stay the same. I mean, I'm expecting a pretty solid ending, and possibly even with a few kind of unexpected twists and turns in there is what my current expectation is.
So I asked you this last night. Well, continue. I didn't mean to interrupt.
Oh, I mean, and that's just kind of that's really just based on other points in the game. Like, I have this feeling that they're gonna just try and fuck with you at the very end, and that it's gonna be it's just all the things I've had. It's gonna be a dark twist, and that's kind of. I mean, even with that in mind, I still think I put it at the 8.
Okay, all right. You got a good idea here. So yeah, you basically answered my question. What do you think the ending's gonna be? So we're gonna go ahead and wrap this up, guys. I want to thank you for watching this episode. We'll see you again next week. Same wild time, same wild place. But we want you to stay nerdy
And stay sexy.
Have a good one, guys.